I'm a big Kirby fan. My favorite game is Kirby's Epic Yarn. I've played every mainline Kirby title and some of the spin-offs, and that means... Now, as a Kirby fan, I of course want people to play Kirby games and experience the wonders of the pink puff, but which one would I recommend first? It has to be the definitive Kirby experience, something that would show people how amazing Kirby is. It has to have everything that defines Kirby so far, and it's of course gotta be fun. And I have just the title for that. Introducing Kirby Slide for the Game Boy Advance e-reader. Look at this stunning gameplay. It captures the essence of all Kirby games. I can't keep this up. If I really had to recommend one game to start with, Kirby Superstar Ultra. Now, if I'm going to talk about Kirby Superstar Ultra, I should talk about the original game, Kirby Superstar. Kirby Superstar, known as Kirby's Fun Pack in PAL regions, was released on March 21st, 1996 in Japan, September 20th, 1996 in America, and January 23rd, 1997 in Europe for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, or the SNES. Kirby Superstar was advertised to have 8 games in one, rivaling the critically acclaimed 8-in-1 Super game. It says there are 8 games in one, but in reality they're all short campaigns. A lot of people say that Superstar is a definitive Kirby experience, and they should play that, and I say fuck those people because the remake, Kirby Superstar Ultra, has all of that and more, and it's on a more accessible console. Actually, not anymore, since Superstar is actually now on the Switch's SNES Virtual Library, but shut up, this one's better. It also looks better, and sounds better, and doesn't have the weirdly unsettling looking Kirby. It's perfect. Kirby Superstar Ultra introduced 4 new main games, 3D cutscenes, touchscreen support, remixed tracks, and new sub-games too. I'll cover what was originally in Kirby Superstar first, because it just makes sense that way. Spring Breeze is the first main game, and it's a remake of the original Kirby's Dreamland game, but with the mechanics of Superstar instead and some minor differences. Kirby can run, jump, hover in the air, slide kick, and of course, suck. The difference here is that Kirby can use copy abilities now, whereas copy abilities were not present in Kirby's Dreamland. Speaking of copy abilities are hugely revamped from their previous iteration in Dreamland 2. Most copy abilities now have a large moveset instead of just one action that can be performed, so for example, the sword copy ability has a single slash, a rapid slash, a downward thrust, mid-air slash, and more. Copy abilities can also be turned into helpers, which uses up the copy ability and turns it into the helper for the respective ability. Helpers can be controlled by either a human player or the AI. The AI for the helpers are very bad, and they don't really benefit you much outside of just extra muscle, mostly because this game wasn't designed with multiplayer in mind, unlike a certain other Kirby game with helpers. A lot of Kirby's moves in this Super Smash Bros. Franchise actually come from the copy abilities in Superstar, such as Kirby's special moves of Final Cutter, Hammer Flip, Stone, Burning Attack as his dash attack in Melee and Ultimate, Yo-Yo's Break Spin as his dash attack in Brawl and Smash 4, and his throws being based on Suplex's throws. I'm getting off track here. The story of Spring Breeze is the same as Kirby's Dreamland. King Dedede steals all the food in Dreamland, and Kirby goes to stop him. This particular story can be completed relatively quickly, it's not too hard, and it's a nice warm-up for what's to come. The levels are short but fun, the bosses are fan favorites with the likes of Wispy Woods, Kracko, and of course, Triple D himself. Gourmet Race is less of a main game and more of a mini-game, but the game calls it a main game, and it uses Superstar's gameplay unlike the mini-game, so here we are. Gourmet Race is all about eating as much food as possible while racing to the finish line against King Dedede. Kirby runs much faster here. I guess with food on the line, Kirby gets a lot faster. There are 3 courses, and whoever gets the most goals along with the most food, whether it be Kirby or King Dedede, wins. Gourmet Race is fun for a short distraction, and has also spawned what is arguably the most popular Kirby track of all time. Dynablade is the next story. Dynablade. Haha, you get it? It's the title, and the bird that's also named Dynablade. Yeah, shut up. Dynablade was destroying all of Dreamland's crops, and of course, Kirby has to go find out why. Dynablade takes place on a map where Kirby has to finish one level to progress to the other. Simple stuff. Dynablade is longer than Spring Breeze, a little tougher, but it's still a fun experience. Dynablade is the final boss here, who isn't too hard, so time to die. When Kirby defeats Dynablade in a battle, it is revealed that she was just trying to feed her chicks. I take back what I said about you dying. Kirby does what any normal person would do, take care of the chicks and teach them to fly until Dynablade recovers. What a good boy. The Great Cave Offensive, which I don't know why it's offensive, oh I see. Man, I'm bringing up the Smash franchise a lot here. Maybe I'll talk about something Smash related in a future video, hint hint wink wink. Kirby falls down a hole like an idiot, then has to find his way out while collecting treasures he finds. The treasures range from actual treasures, to literal junk, to references to other video game franchises. Oh, and Kirby becomes a millionaire if you collect enough. Yeah. Honestly, I don't really like Great Cave Offensive. It's long, it's boring, the level design doesn't look too nice. The bosses though, they're all quite fun. Camellia Arm, Wham Bam Rock, and especially Fatty Whale. Well, time to die. The Revenge of Meta Knight is up next. Meta Knight uses the battleship Halberd to try to take over Dreamland to end the lazy lifestyle, and of course, Kirby's gotta stop him. Revenge of Meta Knight has you try to destroy the Halberd within a limited amount of time, as well as there being dialogue between Meta Knight and his crew. The final battle is, of course, against Meta Knight. Like his previous battle in Kirby's Adventure, you are required to take the sword that he gives, and once he's defeated, his mask shatters to reveal a Kirby-like face, and then he bounces. I also really like the boss fight of Heavy Lobster in this game. In the original run of the Revenge of Meta Knight, I actually forgot to use the paint ability that the Heavy Lobster provides, so I just brute forced my way through it. I'll actually cover the arena here instead of last, because the last main game in Superstar fits better at the end, duh. The arena is essentially a boss rush against all the bosses and mini-bosses that Kirby has faced throughout his adventure. You start in an ability room where you can choose to bring whichever combination of ability and helper, then you are taken to a randomly selected boss fight, and then you're taken into a break room containing healing items that do not regenerate. This adds some strategy as to when to use them. There are 19 bosses in total, and defeating them all isn't very easy unless you do what I did and cheese it with the stone ability, which renders you invincible until you exit stone form. Milky Way Wishes is the final main game in Superstar, and in Milky Way Wishes, the sun and the moon start fighting, but we all know that Pokemon Moon is better. A little jester named Marks approaches Kirby and asks him to have the Galactic Nova stop the sun and the moon, but in order to do that, Kirby has to gather star power from different planets, and even with this outrageous task of literal space travel in order to stop the sun and the moon from fighting and possibly destroying the entire planet of Popstar, Kirby still hops on his Warp Star to save the day. What a good boy. In Milky Way Wishes, Kirby cannot gain copy abilities by inhaling enemies, and instead must find copy essence deluxes scattered across different planets, which allow him to use copy abilities whenever he chooses with the use of the bottom screen on the DS. You can usually squeak by only using some of the good copy essences such as Hammer or Sword, or if you go to the secret planet, you can get the copy ability for Copy. The Copy ability, that doesn't roll off the tongue very well. Copy allows Kirby to steal an enemy's ability just by scanning it, bypassing the limit of not gaining copy abilities from inhaling enemies. In the main game, this is kind of useless since Kirby can just suck, but in Milky Way Wishes, sucking does nothing, so copy is really helpful. Each planet in Milky Way Wishes is like a level in Dynablade lengthwise, except it follows a certain theme, whether it be Cloud Top, Underwater, or the Depths of Hell, and also has 3 copy essences to be found. At the end of each level, Kirby has to defeat a stronger version of a previous boss in order to gain the star power from that planet. After gathering the necessary star power, Kirby summons Galactic Nova to grant Kirby one wish, and just as he was about to wish for the sun and moon to stop fighting, Mark swoops in and steals Kirby's wish, wishing to control the planet Popstar, gaining a new horrifying form from the depths of hell, and continuing the trend of final bosses coming from the depths of fucking hell with awesome music. Oh boy, I bet nobody saw that one coming. Kirby then enters Galactic Nova and destroys it, which leads to the final battle against the fan-favorite Jester. I said the fan-favorite Jester. I said the fan-favorite Jester. There. The boss fight against Marks is iconic, having appeared in both another Kirby game and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate as a boss fight. Marks could be considered the final boss of Kirby Superstar, though Superstar Ultra adds in many harder boss fights. The music used in the boss fight is amazing. I'll just play some of it for you. Of course, Kirby wins and sends Marks flying into the Galactic Nova, where it explodes. Oh god, is Marks dead? Yeah, no, he's definitely dead. Definitely dead. Definitely. As you can see, there's quite a bit of content in Kirby Superstar, but Kirby Superstar Ultra adds 4 new main games. Revenge of the King is a remake of Spring Breeze, which is a remake of Kirby's Dream Land. A remake of a remake inside of a remake. DDT has had enough of being beaten by Kirby over and over, so he challenges Kirby to a rematch. The levels are essentially longer versions of the ones in Spring Breeze, with harder enemies, mid-bosses, and bosses. Before entering Castle Dedede, Kirby is greeted by Kabula from Kirby's Dream Land, who is strangely absent in Spring Breeze. So glad to have you back. Time to die. Entering Castle Dedede, this stage is the one that has received the most drastic change. Castle Dedede is more of a mini-boss rush instead of a short stage, where you fight the mini-bosses that were in Kirby's Adventure that weren't present in the original game. Glad to have you all back. Time to die. There's also dialogue in this stage as well. This time it's between King Dedede and Bandana Waddle Dee, who actually makes their first major appearance in this game, creating one of the most loved Kirby characters and someone who I still want in Smash. Bandana Waddle Dee, please come home. I mean, they were in sub-game Megaton Punch, but shush, we'll get to that later. After defeating all those mini-bosses, because nothing can stop Kirby, Bandana Waddle Dee is sent to fight Kirby even after being spared by King Dedede, because that's a loyal servant. This is the penultimate battle here, and... Reaching the final room, Kirby is greeted by Masked Dedede, boasting a new electric hammer, mask, and a badass battle theme. Seriously, all renditions of King Dedede's theme is amazing. Even my outro is a rendition of King Dedede's theme. The next main game is Meta Knightmare Ultra. Meta Knight wishes to become the galaxy's greatest warrior. You play as Meta Knight throughout Spring Breeze all the way to Milky Way Wishes. Meta Knight plays like the sword copy ability with a few changes, such as the addition of new moves, changes to existing moves, as well as his flight being reminiscent of the wing copy ability. Meta Knight also has 4 unique moves. Night Call, which summons a Helper Sword Knight or Blade Knight, which is just a regular sword ability. Meta Quick, which buffs the movement speed of Meta Knight and its helper. Heal, which, it's in the name, come on. And Mach Tornado, which is a big screen-clearing attack that does a lot of damage. These moves can all be activated using the touchscreen if you gain the necessary meta points to use them. Meta points are obtained when an enemy is defeated, and the mini-bosses and bosses give more points than regular enemies. The best way to describe how I felt when playing as Meta Knight is drunken with power. He's so fun to control, an absolute blast hacking and slashing through enemies and flying around with Meta Quick. After beating Milky Way Wishes, Meta Knight had apparently also gathered star power and uses said star power to resummon Galactic Nova, who gets rebuilt right in front of Meta Knight's eyes, now with a bigger hole near its left eye, because it got exploded. Ouch. Meta Knight wishes to fight the strongest warrior in the galaxy, and Nova summons Galactonite, also known as, oh, so that's where the skin in Smash Bros. Comes from. Galactonite boasts stronger versions of attacks in Meta Knight's own fight, some new attacks, and a kick-ass battle theme. Kirby never fails to deliver when it comes to music, even a decade ago. Helper to Hero is essentially the easier version of the arena. You play as one of the many helpers in Superstar Ultra, and beat bosses one after another. The difference here is that there are fewer bosses, with there being 19 in the arena and 14 in Helper to Hero, and that it was quite easy. Of course, the difficulty depends on which helper you pick. So for example, if you pick Bonkers with the Hammer ability, you're going to have a good time, but if you pick Capsule J2 with the Jet ability, you're better off trying to convince people you're a dragon. The final boss here is Wham Bam Rock, which is a regular boss in the Great Cave Offensive and the arena, so I don't know why it's here. Okay, never mind. Meet Wham Bam Jewel, who is fought immediately after Wham Bam Rock. It's essentially just a harder version with, you guessed it, stronger attacks. The final main game is the True Arena, which is a harder version of the arena. While there are fewer bosses, with 10, the bosses here are a lot harder. You'll be facing off against harder versions of the Spring Breeze bosses, Kabula, some mini-bosses, then Masked Dedede, Wham Bam Jewel, Galactonite, and then the final boss, Mark's Soul. So apparently Marks wasn't dead. Well, he was actually, but his dead body absorbed the power of the Galactic Nova, which transformed him into a more horrifying version, still with a kick-ass battle music. Mark's Soul is, you guessed it, a harder version of Mark's with stronger and more aggressive attacks. You already heard this a million times. Mark's Soul also has an ear-piercing scream once you defeat him. Please, calm down, Marks. You might be dying, but no need to scream like that. Rated E for Eternal Nightmares. The True Arena is not easy. I reached Mark's Soul, died, realized I had to get footage of him screaming, which required me to win, screamed for 5 minutes, then googled a guide on how to beat the bosses, and it took many attempts and some cheesing and Kabula. No, I wasn't patient enough to spend 40 minutes on this with Stone. Well, that's it for all the main games in Kirby Superstar Ultra. Jesus Christ, that was a very long segment. But now it's time for me to cover the mini-games. Yay! Holy shit, this video is long. The 2 mini-games from Kirby Superstar return as unlockables. Megaton Punch has you time a meter, 2 crosshairs, and a pendulum to cause Kirby to literally crack a planet. Kirby cracking a planet rivals Donkey Kong moving the moon with a punch. Samurai Kirby has you try to press a button when the exclamation point pops up faster than the opponent. These mini-games use the art style from Kirby Superstar and are called nostalgic games. I suck at Samurai Kirby. There are also 3 new mini-games that are all played using the touchscreen because it's a DS game. Kirby Card Swipe is a reaction-based game where you are given a number of cards and you have to draw the one that is shown at the top screen faster than the other players. Kirby on the Draw has Kirby inhale Joker and use neutral special to gun down targets. The targets are cardboard cutouts because rated E for Eternal Nightmares. The gun has 8 shots, needing to be reloaded when used up, and shooting a bomb will deduct 50 points. Snack Tracks has you tap away any bugs, rocks, and bombs that are on the conveyor belt feeding Kirby food, and try to eat as much as possible. These are, I'll be honest, not very fun. The most fun ones for me are the original ones from Superstar, but that's mostly for nostalgia reasons, and also because it's not very fun to control things using the DS touchscreen. Kirby Superstar Ultra is close to being a perfect Kirby game, with the copy abilities featured here being mainstays, introducing full copy ability movesets, copy ability hats, which are very important by the way, fun level design, and kick-ass music. I really love Milky Way Wishes, especially because the level design here is the best in Superstar Ultra, as well as the fun system of Copy Essence Deluxe. Of course, no game is perfect, and the viewers love hearing people bitch about things, so here we are. Kirby Superstar Ultra plays like Kirby Superstar, which didn't control very well. Something about playing Kirby here feels a bit slower than in other titles, and certain aspects such as the running felt stiff. The helpers, while a neat concept that would later be expanded on, is a very flawed system. First of all, Kirby can only create helpers using his copy ability, and then if you want to swap it, you have to sacrifice a new copy ability, so it's really hard to actually swap your helper to one that you actually want. Helpers also have a flawed AI, and since I have no friends within the gameplay radius of a DS, I can't have a human control these, so I'm stuck with Idiot Rock over here. While I love most of the main games, I found that Great Cave Offensive was highly tedious, walking and walking and walking room by room, solving puzzles, occasionally fighting a boss. Fuck me, it's boring. Overall, I give Kirby Superstar Ultra an 8.5 out of 10 for being a very fun Kirby game but lacking in certain aspects. Overall, this game was pretty fun. Maybe I'll cover more DS Kirby games in the future. Now I'll probably cover the Kirby board game, distributed as one of the 5 toys in Wendy's Kids Meals in 2003 to promote the Kirby anime dub. The critics love this one.